Let's podcast. Alongside Joe Giglio, I'm Joe Ovias. We are inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, get everything you need to the cloud. Speaking of document management, Joe, I feel like the College Football Playoff Committee is getting all their documents right to help the ACC. If I am Jim Phillips, ACC commissioner this morning, I wake up and I go, full Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance, not just a chance to have one college football playoff entrant, because I know yesterday everybody was freaking out,
including me.
There's a possibility still, however slim, and the College Football Playoff Committee is giving the ACC this opportunity. Hey, guys, you could still get two. And you're probably asking, well, wait a minute. Yesterday, you guys were saying we are in DEFCON 2 because Duke might be the league champ 8-4, and they might get left out if they're not one of the top ranked conference champions.
Top 5, yes. Automatic bids for the top 5 conference champions.
That's on the table. That was on the table. And yet the College Football Playoff Committee came out yesterday and said, you know what, though? We like Miami a hell of a lot, all things considered. And we're setting the table to have Miami get in to the College Football Playoff, even if they don't show up in the ACC championship game. It's not mathematically possible for them to show up in the ACC championship game, which is actually to their benefit of all things.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Phillips has to feel like Christmas came early. It came on 11-12 this year and not 12-25, because Miami being at number 15 ahead of Georgia Tech, Virginia, Louisville, and Pitt, those 4 teams are ranked in the top 25.
Yeah.
Okay. All of those teams have 1 conference loss. Miami has 2, and their losses are to Louisville and SMU. SMU not ranked. SMU, though, also has 1 conference loss. So, I mean, there's always a way for Miami to get into the ACC championship game, but it's super unlikely that they will. So what the committee was saying last night was, we think Miami is a playoff team.
Yeah,
that's what they were saying. They broke their own rules, kind of sort of by putting them at 11, because they're basically projecting them as a conference champion.
To be clear, they didn't break any rules because they don't have rules. They can rank them however they want them to fit whatever. I've been saying this the last couple of years. These are just TV shows, and you can't take too much away from it. Too much. However, if you did focus on how they position the back half and why certain teams are still ranked the way that they are, and that is so that they can set the table for whatever their ultimate decision is at the end of the season.
And to me, for Miami, it's been this way all along. They keep shooting themselves in the foot. They still need to pull this thing into the barn.
They do.
There's no guarantee that they do that. But ultimately, I feel like this is what it looks like. You're going to get to Selection Sunday, and you're going to look at the teams in the field, and you're going to go, now, wait a second. Miami has wins over 2 of the teams that we have in the field potentially in Notre Dame and South Florida. That's right now. If you kind of look at it and go, well, you might say, well, that's Miami. There's some random ACC team. Have you looked at Texas A&M's resume as we speak?
Well, it's interesting
because
most of the conversation around Texas A&M is about their ranking versus Indiana. Indiana is in a close game with Penn State. Comes down to the last play. Gus Johnson loses his voice. Some radio dude up in Detroit's mad about it. And also people are mad about it because they're like, well, wait a minute. How is Texas A&M still behind Indiana in this particular case, right? When it's like, did you guys memory hole what happened with Texas A&M and Arkansas?
Well, it's not the close wins for Texas A&M.
I know.
There's 3 other SEC teams in the field. Alabama, they didn't play them.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, they didn't play them. Georgia, they didn't play them. So you could get to Selection Sunday and have the SEC champion, and Miami would have more teams over the field than the SEC champion. Think about that for a second.
Now, the other thing that I find interesting here regarding the bracket,
even though Miami, I know Texas A&M fan, Miami and Texas A&M share the same win over Notre Dame.
Yes.
Texas A&M was on the road. I get that.
So about that Notre Dame game, Notre Dame is currently bracketed higher than Miami. Notre Dame is 9, Miami is 11, and it's like, well, wait a minute. Does head-to-head matter? Head-to-head should matter. But again, listen to me now and then check back with me when it's all said and done. This gets back to how we started. The ACC has been given a favor. The ACC has been given an opportunity. The football gods are smiling upon the ACC this morning. How can they make this work? Well, if Miami handles their business and they get into a position where you have to start deciding between Miami and Notre Dame, that's where the head-to-head will matter. It doesn't matter now because nothing matters now. There's a lot of football left. Heck, Pitt might beat Notre Dame. Actually, they won't. Did you see that? Actually, I know you saw this because you sent it to me. Did you see Pat Narduzzi on whether or not this was a must-win game for Pitt?
Strangest answer I've ever heard a coach give.
So here's the Nard dog.
Especially from the guy who was always saying, "We'll just be Clemson."
So the Nard,
what do you mean?
The Nard dog has his media availability this week, and this is what he says when he's asked about Notre Dame being a must-win situation.
Going here into Destiny, do you feel like this is a must-win for this team when it comes to something?
Absolutely not. It is not an ACC game. I'm glad you brought that up. It is not an ACC game. I gladly get beat 103 or 110 to 10 in that game. They can put 100 up on us as long as we win the next two after that. But again, our focus is on Notre Dame and.
Is it on Notre Dame, though? Is it really? Because it sounds to me like the focus is the goal being the ACC championship. And I don't care what happens against Notre Dame, but we're focused on Notre Dame. That makes zero sense.
That's terrible messaging from a guy who's usually on the just next man up, just bring it on. Take on anybody. Now, they close with Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Miami.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I mean, what I would be giving it the, our next game is against Notre Dame. We're going to focus on beating Notre Dame because who knows? What the committee's telling you is who knows? They don't know because you could knock Notre Dame out, which opens it up. They have Pitt at 22. One important thing about these rankings that came out, James Madison, the Sun Belt leader right now at 8-1, not in the rankings.
Told you.
Not in the rankings.
Told you.
So one of the things I talked about was the Big 12 having two. And that's why I'm saying they're breaking their own rules because they're projecting Miami to be a conference champion. And I don't think Miami's going to be playing for a conference championship.
No, they're not.
That's why BYU and Utah being ahead of Miami in their own rankings is problematic right now. But I told you that BYU had a tough schedule down the stretch. They already lost that Texas Tech game. Now we'll see what happens to BYU and Utah going forward.
So this is obviously what college football decision makers want. The stakeholders want this kind of discussion as we get through the remaining weeks of the regular season. There has been a debate as to whether or not the college football playoff and the expanded field has lessened the impact of these regular season games. I have always argued that it doesn't. It actually involves more teams. It creates more intrigue and things like that. And the ratings also reflect this, by the way. College football marquee matchups have been seeing an increase in television ratings throughout. Now, how does that play off in the college football playoff? How do those early round games that end up being blowouts, how are those ratings affected? We can save that conversation for another day. But because of the drama, I do have another question before we move on to a sports phone call and then some basketball. Look at the uncertainty that the ACC has. I think we can all agree, regardless of what happens, one team, two teams, does not matter, that the ACC is not looking like a conference that's going to have a team that goes beyond the first weekend of the college football playoff.
As you say, to be clear, it doesn't really appear that they have a viable threat to win the championship.
And that's the other thing, too, before anybody, or if it's too late, I want to take it back just a second. I hope, as we discuss this, you understand, the audience understands, that we're talking about it simply from the perspective of how the ACC can ... In no way, shape, or form am I arguing for the ACC. You'll notice this year, given the lack of results, given how Clemson and Florida State have been, given how Virginia has been a paper tiger of an ACC contender this entire season, I have not once argued on the behalf of the ACC. This is a classic, you get what you deserve. And right now, the ACC deserves this kind of uncertainty in the college football playoff because their stakeholders have not held up their end of the bargain. Florida State has not held up their end of the bargain. Clemson has fallen off in a way that nobody could have predicted back in the summer when we were actually banking on Clemson being maybe not an overall title contender, but being a representative of the ACC in the college football playoff. And Miami, my God, could you just be normal for once, right? With Mario Cristobal and November performances. But that's apparently asking too much. So to be clear, the ACC deserves this. because they have not produced on the football field this year.
Okay, now, but hold up.
Yes.
What has Ohio State went out and they beat Texas? Okay, what has Indiana done? I'm being serious
winning
right now. They're winning. You just called Virginia a paper tiger, right?
And has been proven they are paper tigers because they lost.
Okay, but Georgia Tech has one loss, right?
Yes.
Georgia Tech gets to play Georgia.
Yes.
Georgia Tech beats Georgia.
Let me ask you. Okay.
So, but here's what I'm saying to you about Miami.
Yeah.
And their resume right now.
Well, let me ask you this.
Miami's resume right now with the win over Notre Dame and a win over South Florida, assuming South Florida can win the American.
Isn't
that better?
Does State give Miami a bump with the fact that they have wins over Georgia Tech and Virginia?
Computer wise, they will. If you look at NC State's strength of record, of course it will.
No, I'm viewing the ACC this year in a much harder lens than in previous years. This is not a Jordan Travis situation. This is not SMU. What's the difference between SMU and some other team? That's not what I'm getting at here. This year has been an absolute underperforming year for the ACC.
Certain teams. Louisville, I mentioned they have the win over James Madison. It's funny. The ACC has more out of the league than they have in the league. And people have a hard time with that.
And even out of the league, it's not that good.
But compared to these other teams, Alabama lost to Florida State.
I know.
Just in case you forgot.
We forgot.
Just in case you forgot.
We did forget. But you remember, that was at the beginning of the year. Totally different team now.
I'm just telling you, the ACC has more out of the league than any other conference.
I
think the committee is actually taking that into account.
If you're Jim Phillips, do you say, hey, can we talk about that 2-bid thing again?
The auto?
Yeah.
I think it was 3 in the 16-team field.
In the 16-team
I said it at the time, you should take it.
Do you think Jim Phillips, given how things are going right now,
you should take it?
Do you think Jim Phillips, given the way things are going right now, would say, hey, are we doing that 16 thing again? I get 3 auto bids? We good on that? Is that still on the table? Do you think they take it now?
I think if they went to 16, they would be stupid not to take 3. But I understand why you would not want to go into the auto bid process. Getting back to your point though about what college football has done by expanding the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
What would not be a bigger statement? What could be a better statement than to reward these teams for going outside of their league and performing and winning games, right? Like, here's what Indiana did outside of the Big Ten: Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State. Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Let me get to Oregon's, because I feel like Oregon every year routinely either loses their big game out of the league or ends up playing no one out of the league. And here's the thing, as I tried to mention yesterday about the Big Ten this year, the bottom of that league is atrocious. And these teams are just feasting on the terrible teams out of the league. Here's what Oregon did out of the league: Montana State, Oklahoma State, Oregon State. I get it. Georgia Tech hasn't won yet. They haven't beaten Georgia. I understand that. I understand Duke is still in play to win the ACC with terrible out of league performance, including a loss to UConn. I understand that. But I think what they were saying last night was we appreciate or want to reward Miami for what they've done, and right behind them, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Louisville, Pittsburgh. All those teams are, to your point, they're trying to prop up the league a little bit, but somebody's taking care of the ACC. I don't know who. Now it's up to the ACC to take care of their business. Miami needs to take care of business, pulling this thing into the barn. Okay. Georgia Tech needs to take care of business, pulling this thing into the barn. That's what the league really, really needs.
It would be. You want to talk about Dave Doran specials? Yeah, I know he gets asked about the retirement stuff. I still got 4 years and all that kind of stuff.
We had Salty Dave this week. No one believed in us.
Nobody believed in us. It
in
would
us.
be hilarious if Dave Doran's final act at NC State is just to ruin a bunch of shit.
Well, he already tried with
Georgia
Tech. Now he's got Miami this week.
You could beat Miami, and of course, in the Big Four vortex that we are entering into this week, he could also screw it up for Bill Belichick and everything else, keeping me out of a bowl game potentially or something like that.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's go to a 469.
Hey guys, Mikey in DFW, traveling for work this week. Just wanted to respond to Jesse's phone call on Tuesday's show. I thought it was really good. And I just want to pound a drum that I've been banging for months now. College football as a game has never been better than it is in the year 2025. But college football as a sport has never been worse. And here's why. Because the further we get away from these 2 bullet points being the most important thing for any college football team each season, the worse the sport gets. 1, beating your rival's ass. That should be the most important thing on every team's docket every single year. You kick your rival's ass, you get to talk shit to them for 354 days. That's number 1. Number 2, winning your conference championship. Because you win the conference title, you raise the trophy, and then you take that trophy and stick it in your rival's faces for 364 days and talk shit to them. And just the further we get away from that, the stupider this gets. Ohio State, you can't. They didn't win the Big Ten last year, and they got embarrassed in just completely ridiculous fashion at home by their arch rival Michigan as a 19.5-point favorite. By no stretch of any imagination did what happened to them last season constitute a successful season, yet they get to claim a national championship. That's ridiculously dumb. And I hear Narduzzi out here saying that Notre Dame could put 100 on them this weekend, but it's okay if they win the conference title. There's a slight distinction here. If he really meant that, yes, we want to win the conference championship because that winning the ACC is so prestigious, that's one thing. But he doesn't believe that. He just wants to win the ACC so they can get the college football playoff berth and get that extra payola coming in the door. You got to win the conference championship because we have to make that the most important thing in the sport. And so long as it's not, college football will continue to not be as great as it once was. Love you guys. Go Heels. Later.
Yeah, no, I agree with that call. And so much so that a good part of what we do as a podcast is doubling down on the fact that the rivalries matter and they should continue to matter because that's ultimately what people care about.
I love Mikey's passion here, but these conferences killed these conferences.
Yeah.
By adding all of the teams that they did. I keep bringing this up. Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, they don't play each other.
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M, Georgia, Alabama, they don't play each other. In the ACC, we've got 5 teams with 1 loss. Only 3 of them are going to play each other.
Yeah, like
it's fucking bananas, So I'm with you. I love the passion. I wish that was still the case. The rivalries do matter. Those conferences though have killed the conferences. So we can't put that toothpaste back in the tube.
Going over to hoops last night, Wake Forest almost got it done against Michigan. Duke put it on Army for the Coach K.
God, Mike hates the troops, doesn't he?
It's just on Veterans Day.
Come on.
You did that to Army? My goodness. 114-59. And the game that I actually found more intriguing, the UNC Radford game, which North Carolina, without Seth Trimble, ended up beating Radford 89-74. It was not a pretty game. Let's go back to the sports phone, a 704.
Hey, guys, it's Paul. YouTube TV subscribers, be happy you were not able to watch that Carolina Radford game last night. That was disgusting. That was disgusting basketball. 80 free throws were attempted in that game. 80. Radford had 4 players foul out. What the fuck, referees? What the fuck? That was gross. An abomination of basketball. Truly terrible.
Now, I agree with Paul's frustration over the way that game was officiated. Caleb Wilson found himself in early foul trouble, so that limited what he was able to do. But I think that's good for Caleb Wilson, how to deal with it. It's
not always going to be sunshine and roses.
Right. So how do you deal with you want to use adversity as the word, use adversity as the word. It does not matter. I also thought it was interesting from a perspective for the Tar Heels. All right, you don't have Seth Trimble. I was reading Andrew Jones this morning over at Tar Heel 24/7. He had a blurb where he had talked to Seth Trimble. Seth Trimble told him, I'm a fast healer, man. They're looking at 6 to 7 weeks.
Okay. I think that's Christmas.
Post-surgery.
Right after Christmas.
Yeah.
I get you.
So that's all good signs for Seth Trimble going forward. But also good for the Tar Heels that post-Kansas, no Seth Trimble. All right, let's see how these other guards work. Let's give Luka some opportunities here. Let's see how Kyan Evans handles these things. So I think ultimately it allowed Hubert Davis to throw out some lineups that you're not used to, but also giving guys some time that's needed, and that's what these games against Radford are for. So, ugly game, a lot of fouls. Caleb Wilson was in foul trouble and wasn't much of a factor. There's also a little bit of a hangover after beating Kansas.
A big hangover.
That's always a factor there. But ultimately, there's a lot to extract from a game like that I think is positive for the Tar Heels, Joe.
How about the Wolf Bud, Dennis Parker, with a game high 23 points?
I saw that.
Poor Dennis Parker was a freshman on the 24 team, and I believe he had mono during their run. Didn't get to play.
Right.
Came back last year, was basically just a reserve last year. And I'm like, they were like Dennis Parker Jr. And I'm like, you mean Trey Parker? No. You mean Dennis Smith Jr.?
Nope.
No. Wait, who was he?
Let's combine them all together.
I was having that moment last night while Wes was calling that game, and I'm like, huh?
Oh yeah. Where's that dude? All right, one more sports phone call to 919.
Hello, G. 9:09 p.m. Sadly, Wake Forest lost to Michigan in basketball. Between you two and Will Wade and Caleb Wilson, I'm starting to pay attention to college basketball, ACC in particular, in early November. Now, I'll grant you, it helps that the ACC football decided to shit the bed this past weekend, but nonetheless, too bad for Wake Forest. You talk about the reckoning, you talk about the reawakening that Giglio needs to go patent. You talk about ACC relevancy. Need the ACC in basketball to do a hell of a lot better in this ACC SEC challenge this season. And most of all, Giglio, you will appreciate this. We need the ACC to put it in Joe Lunardi's ear, along with the four-letter network. Do it. Be relevant. Don't screw around and continue to be mediocrity. OG, thank you as always. Looking forward to the rest of the shows this week. Thank you so much. Good night now.
Thank you, courtesy. No, ACC had two almosts last night.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we talked about this before the game and how they were gigantic underdogs. Wake Forest was at Michigan. They ended up
17-point dog, right?
Ended up losing in overtime. Florida State.
Another tight one.
Now, don't pick a team a year late, Florida, who opened with a loss to Arizona and now it was a 2-point game for Florida to win this game at home. Okay. Don't pick a team a year late. Florida is not the national champs anymore. I can promise you that. But it was a chance for the ACC to score 2 wins, just like Carolina getting Kansas. You put it in your back pocket.
Yep.
You know,
NC State's going to have these opportunities.
Once you start chasing them, that's where you get in trouble.
Yeah.
Louisville taking care of business at home.
They got a push from Kentucky last night.
They did, but they look good.
No. Louisville looked good.
They look good.
Louisville looked legitimate last night.
Mikael Brown.
I watched the second half of that game last night.
We got some. I know they spent a lot of time talking about the freshmen last night in the UK Louisville game because of the way that Brown looked. But like, you start thinking about it, and it's like, yes, I get why Caleb Wilson was upset. But you start looking around the league. Now, hold on a second.
Hey,
there's some guys out there this year.
That has been
again, we haven't talked about Virginia Tech yet. We haven't talked about Virginia. Virginia blew out Hampton last night. Virginia scoring 91 points. Look at that offense. It's allowed.
What a concept.
I need to go to a game and see if they still do their horse shit celebration of shot clock violations. But hey, guys, like Herb Sandek said all those years ago, there's 2 ways to win a game. I'm glad that you finally get to enjoy the other way of watching your team win a game.
And a reminder tonight, NC State's playing UNCG. We are at a reckoning alert day.
Yeah, 17.
Level 17.
Level 17.
A reckoning alert day. level 17. We are on Rad Watch. Housekeeping is brought to you by Innovana. Check them out online at innovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Innovana.
Continue some hoops conversation with Scott Wood. Conversation you had with Scott Wood earlier in the week.
Well, speaking of potential freshmen coming down the pike, Jordan Page.
Oh, yeah.
One of the top high school players in the country. It's always cool when they're here in the triangle because then we start to figure them out. You know, I don't know where he'll ultimately end up going to school, if he'll pull a John Wall and go somewhere else,
possibly,
or if he'll pull a Shavlik Randolph and pull one of the local schools.
Maybe.
We'll
So Scott Wood, we'll also check in with Mike Maniscalco with the Carolina Hurricanes, and a feisty one last night against the Washington Capitals. And we'll do a little OG business, if you will. Instead of Hey Joe later on today, you know, our sports phone is brought to you by Nature's Relief. We're going to actually talk to Nature's Relief because with all the government shutdown business and passing bills and all that other stuff, snuck in there,
stick to sports,
is a provision that would eliminate all of your favorite beverages and your gummies.
Straight up sports.
Yeah, it ain't straight up sports today, folks. I can tell you that. Plus, a special visit from one of our corporate champions. It's a very corporate champion heavy day today. Give us 5 stars.
It's a good reason.
Give us 5 stars for that, by the way. So we'll see what's going on with our friends at Nature's Relief, and then we have another corporate champion jumping on with 2 bits of news.
Huge.
2 bits of huge news. That's coming up a little bit later on. In the meantime, I want you to check out our pop-up shop. It closes 12/1. OGTriangleMediaShop.com. Again, that's OGTriangleMediaShop.com. We got full zip hoodies. We got the Drunk OG. We got beanies, toboggans, whatever you want to call them. But this is a pop-up shop. So once the store closes, it's going away back into the vault and maybe never to be seen again. Maybe 2 Christmases from now. Who's to say? Who is to say? And of course, we've got our parade coming up, which I still got to test this bad boy. These road things.
Can't wait.
I know you're very excited about this, but this is for Hayes.
Okay.
You know, he's the one that's going to be the man on the street. Unless you want to
take that out to the game on Saturday. I'm just talking to myself.
So Rod Brindable,
Gene
what do you
Rayburn
think
style.
about this? Yeah, that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
So we'll give you some more information about the Xmas parade, the Christmas parade next week. Big thanks to our friends at Color Graphic. We do a lot of history lessons on this program, and Color Graphic brought you a brief history of Triangle Good. You have needs. Maybe you need a banner. Maybe you need a wrap around your vehicle. You need sandwich boards. They can do that for you. So hit them up at sales@colorgraphic.com. Here's a question, some housekeeping here. We're having a meeting. One of our listeners suggested for summer protocols, since we called Caleb Wilson an early entrant into the OG motherfucker Hall of Fame. Is that what we do next summer? We actually unveil the OG motherfucker Hall of Fame.
Ooh,
OG motherfucker
our
summer
era, right?
Yeah, and of the last 25 years.
Okay. So no Tory Holt.
Yeah.
Boy, that would be good.
Just a thought.
That would be good.
Just a thought for summer programming. Can we get Color Graphic on board for that?
Oh, absolutely.
Could they come up with a sign that blanks out motherfucker? Anyway, hit them up. Sales@colorgraphic.com. Big thanks to our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. You can check them out online at bugsbite.com. Bundle and save. Yeah, you're not thinking about mosquitoes right now, but you want to be ready for next year. Hit them up today. See how that all works out for you. You can buy and save, actually. You can buy a bundle of treatments for next year and save money, and you can take care of your quarterly pest treatment. So go on over to bugsbite.com. Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. We might have to hit them up and get the lawyers if we have parade problems, Joe. I'm sure Whitaker and Hamer can look at the contracts and tell you if it's good or not, right?
Absolutely.
Just saying.
Or maybe there's some corporate synergy that we can put together.
Maybe that's the case. Also, big thanks to our friends at Two Roosters. You better put the orders in. This is it. You want that chocolate chip pie, ice cream pie, and pumpkin rolls with cream cheese ice cream. You better do it now. Get your orders in for Thanksgiving.
I think I saw Jared with a blue ribbon from ConeCon.
We got to talk to Jared about ConeCon.
We got to get him on the program.
So go to tworoosters.com. And we're about to take a hockey break with our friend Mike Maniscalco.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
Download the app. Use that promo code OG25. I was at North Hills yesterday, and a lot of hockey talk while we were there getting my Bueno Bowl with a mix of the brown rice and the spring mix. It was all good stuff. And I got Jacob the banana bread smoothie. The banana bread blaster is what they call it.
Oh,
It's really good stuff. If you want to try it.
Jacob's going for the weight gain.
He's such a protein guy now, man. It's hilarious. Little 14-year-old protein kid. So yeah, go download the app. You can save 25% off your order when you use that promo code OG25. Morgan Patrick, the hockey pig, is on your YouTube screen. So that means one thing and one thing only. It means it's time to talk about the Carolina Hurricanes. Mike Maniscalco, play-by-play for the Hurricanes, joining us now on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline. And when we talk to Mike, he's brought to you by our friends at Brassfield Accounting. Check them out online at brassfieldaccounting.com. Homer, Alaska is the home base, but now they have an RTP office. So you can bring all your paperwork. I'll bring you my paperwork all there to our friends at Brassfield Accounting. Mike, you okay? You getting in fights last night?
No, I did not. Nobody wanted to scrap with me for whatever reason, but as you know, Ovius, I'm not afraid to if push comes to shove.
No, I'm aware. So shout out to Alec Campbell, former radio pregame host for the Carolina Hurricanes. I felt like last night was yet another one of these playoff-like carryover games. I mean, we saw a fight with these. Remember that bonkers April game between the Capitals and the Canes, and Tom Wilson's coming out, bowing to the audience because he was the third star. There was a lot of fights in that game. And then we see this last night after an incident with Freddie Anderson. Logan Stankoven gets involved. He's bloodied. That makes people love him even more. Yep. What is up with these two teams, man?
Oh, I mean, once again, familiarity breeds contempt.
Yeah.
And that's the big part of it. And, the Canes knocked the Caps out of the playoffs. The Caps won the division last year, and they were really good from start to finish. And look, there's still, at its core, the same cast of characters who've been going head-to-head since 2019, when the Canes knocked out the then defending champion Washington Capitals from the postseason in the first round. So, it's just the fact that these two teams know each other really well. And the really match onto the powder keg for that was Nick Dowd runs into Freddie Anderson. And look, for years, and Ovius and Giglio, this from being out there, people would always talk about, the Canes don't have, the Canes had an answer. And what I loved about it was, yes, the Logan Stankoven video is going to be around forever, where he brushes the head up and he gets the William Wallace blood over the eye, and then freedom. I was expecting him to scream something like that, but one, that tells you all you need to know about Logan Stankoven. And I will continue to go down this road. Just because he's not tall in stature means he's a small player. He is a big man, and he is tough as nails, and he'll get involved into the fight if he has to. But I love seeing Frederik Andersen get up and try to get a piece of Dowd. What are you doing here? And then that called it. We were probably 10 seconds away from a goalie fight, which we were. Can I take off the, hey, I work for the Carolina Hurricanes and I'm a professional broadcaster. The fan in me always enjoys a goalie fight.
Yeah.
If you're a hockey fan, and I know this will get us down, I want the Puritans and protectors and gatekeepers of the sport up in the Great White North to go, oh, you violence monger. No, a goalie fight's just fun to see from time to time. But all of that, the thing that I was shocked at, though, Joe, is it didn't continue as the game went on.
Yeah.
I was expecting more of it, and that pretty much toned it down after, they got it out of the way and the boys will be boys and you move on from it. But the big reason is, these two teams, I believe there's a genuine, under the surface, there is a dislike for each other. There's a respect now, but there is a genuine dislike between these two teams because of the history that they've now put together.
I wanted to go back to the quote unquote toughness aspect of this, right? Because Logan Stankoven stepped up. I guess he got a little enjoyment. He's like, nobody makes me taste my own blood, right? I understand that. I know after the game he said, it's like, I actually kind of enjoyed it. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. You go back to the Jalen Chatfield hit, and Jordan Staal throws down after that too. Am I reading too much into this? Maybe there's a little bit of pushback going on. After a while, you try to take the high road, or we're not going to get bogged down in that, and you just kind of get fed up, and we're seeing elements of that play out so far? Or are these one-off incidents where Chatfield is clearly concussed, and in this particular case, don't come at my goalie?
I think it's It can be both, Joe.
Okay.
And I think in this instance, it is because the Chatfield hit happens right in front of the Canes bench. They see it. And I mean, again, I hate that in this league that you have to fight for a clean hit now as well as a dirty hit. So it's hard to separate the two. But Pitlick hits Chatfield with his shoulder on his chin. I mean, that's every view that we had of it from FanDuel Sports Network. That's how I saw it. And, that's a hit. The puck is there, sort of. It had gone the other way. Pitlick could have peeled off. He still could have made contact. It didn't have to be that. I don't want to remember. I just talked about a goalie fight being a good thing, so I don't want to sit here and say, let's not hit. Hitting still a part of it.
Yeah.
But there are times now where I think if a player sees, the puck's not there, I'm committed to the hit, but you can change the hit. Like, you don't have to go 99 miles through the wall for it, right? You can still make the contact and make your point. So that's why Stahl and the Canes took exception to that, and they should have. And then that's why you saw what happened at Nick Dowd running into Frederick Anderson. And, that is a little bit of, no touch my guys, no touch my goalie. And, Jackson Blake was the one who really started to get after it. And then it just happened to be, when the spinorama was done, it's Stankoven looking at Faravari, and they say, all right, let's go. And you get it done. And, the unfortunate thing is you don't want to do this all the time, because then you have the Charles Alexis Legault situation that happens in Toronto. He's trying to fight Bobby McMahon, who took a liberty at the end of the period, and that unfortunate incident. But no, this is a team like the thing that was always tough for me when people say the Canes aren't tough. Fighting doesn't always equal tough in the National Hockey League. It doesn't. There's the time and place. And at least for the Stahl and Stankoven bouts, those were the right time and the right place for it.
Is Trip Tracy's job in trouble? I heard Dick Clayton on the broadcast with you recently.
Giglio, let me put it to you this way. There is nothing that Jacob Slavin can't do when it comes to hockey. He at first was like, no, I don't know how much. And he goes, oh, you want me to? He thought we were just doing the interview with him at the end of the intermission. And then we're like, no, you're going to come on to the broadcast and break down the play. He goes, oh, okay, I don't know how good I'm going to be at that. And boom, he jumps right into it. So no, I don't think Tripp has to worry. And Jacob had the best line ever. He goes, this is great. I'm never, ever doing this ever again. And we told him that. I told him, I go, I love seeing you up here. I don't ever want to see you up here ever again, as long as you're in your playing days. But he was really good. And he brought, it wasn't just for those who were watching. It wasn't like a vanilla line. He was talking about, like, look, this is what we're looking to do here. This is what needs to happen. And yeah, I'm not shocked that Jacob Slavin was good at breaking down the game to where all of us could understand what's going on.
As long as the Canes tread water, we're not going to see Jacob Slavin. Is that basically what I'm thinking? What you're thinking as well?
Oh, yeah, I think that's the case. And I honestly think that is the right play. I mean, you don't want to, as far as this team is concerned, you don't want to have somebody who's done for the entire year in November, right? And especially if it's something where the pieces we've seen in Giglio, I'll say it, I haven't seen anything out of the guys who have stepped up and had to play defense to say, this looks terrible and you need to change this, or you got to go get reinforcements, or, you need to talk to Jacob Slavin and say, are you sure you can't come back and play? No, as long as this team is playing this way, as long as this team is continuing to win way more than what they're losing, let Jacob Slavin get healthy. Let him be as close to 100% as he needs to be to get back on the ice. Because again, this is all going to be, no matter what happens, guys, when we talk every week about this team, what's really going to matter when we start talking about the Canes is going to be when you start talking to me in the first round of the playoffs and how do they get past this opponent. Yeah. And if you don't have Jacob Slavin, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to win playoff series than if you do have Jacob Slavin. I'll worry about how do you get by, coming up Vancouver and Edmonton in the regular season without Jacob Slavin. I don't want to try to break down having to get by the Islanders or Detroit or Montreal or whoever it'll be in the first round if the Canes win the division, or you got to get by Washington as the way things might shake out if you don't have Jacob Slavin.
I want to go back to Logan Stankoven. A couple of weeks ago, we caught up with head coach Rod Brindamore, asked for his assessment of the role that he has been in, and he's been happy with it. And I guess this is going to continue. To your point, and I agree with you, a lot of what's happening in the regular season is fine and good. Let's stay healthy. Ultimately, once again, we are in a Carolina Hurricane season that the playoffs will decide how we view the season. Let's just get there. And I do wonder, once we get into the, as we like to say, the heavier portions of the playoffs, where Stankoven fits in that role, or do the Canes already know this and might be thinking about some other things along the way before we even get to that point?
All right, let me go to the last.
Like, for me, it's good for the regular season. Do we want to wait and truly find out if it's going to be good enough for the playoffs?
Well, let me get to that part first, Joe, because I think it's legit. That's a legit thing, and I'll give. It's now become a standard answer. This regime now, this front office now, and you can go back to when Don Waddell was the GM president, but now with Eric Tulsky and how this team is put together, they're looking at everything. Like they are going to look. So it's funny. I'm trying to tell us, hey, don't worry about an injury to Jacob Slavin about the regular season. The rest of this regular season can be and will be a referendum on, do you need to go out and get somebody else? Or are we comfortable with the lines, how they're put together? Can Logan Stankoven handle this workload? And I'm going to bet on Logan Stankoven, just so you know, because of the work ethic he has, the way he plays the game. Again, there's this, we all have, I'll go back to our video game selves here, Joe. Yeah. We all have the thing, it's NHL 94, and the center's here, and the wingers are there, and that's how we play the game, and all this stuff. Well, they don't play it like that anymore, and for real. It's who's the first forward in, and who's going to be the three, the F3, the high forward, and getting back in time, and who's exchanging. So if you can do all of that, I think you can get away with, and I hate using the term get away with, but I think that you can have Logan Stankoven right now on a line with Jackson Blake and Nikolai Ehlers. It's pretty damn good. And Rod said it in the pregame show. The thing for Stankoven, where he'll be judged as a center, is winning draws. And you know what? He is not going to beat Austin Matthews. He's not going to beat John Tavares in faceoffs right now. He's not. And there's a ton of reasons why. Yeah. Those guys know how to cheat a little bit better. They get the benefit of the doubt from the linesmen. But this is a player who this year is going to move on. He's the guy. He's going to be, if they really are committed to it, and I know that he's committed to it if that's the role. When we get to game 60, he's going to be a lot better in the face-off circle than he is right now. He's going to be a lot better doing the things that you ask him to do. But to your point, this organization's always looking. And if they feel that the right fit is there to improve this team, and maybe it is a center, or maybe it's something, I mean, it could be something completely different. Yeah. We've found now this team is not afraid to swing. They're not afraid to swing the bat and try to hit a home run. It might not work, but it's better than years past of, well, we need to hang on to all of these things and see how that. No, they go out and they'll at least make the attempt. They're in on everything for a reason when you hear it, that's out there, but they're not just sitting there for lip service. They literally kick the tires and say, well, this make us a better team.
Now, don't get me wrong. I understand. I give Logan Stankoven an immense amount of credit. He was brought here in a weird situation post Mikko Rantanen. He absolutely became a fan favorite with his immediate production post Mikko Rantanen. And then you get instances like last night where he clearly is that dude. As they like to say, he's got that dog in him.
Oh, yeah, he does.
So he clearly has become very quickly a fan favorite. And he seems like a good personality too. One of these days we'll actually do an interview with him. But I still worry. I still go back to conversations we've had with Brindamore when Giglio comes up with his super line combinations. And what does Rod always say? And it's not heavy enough.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And that kind of plays in the back of my mind when we go through the regular season going into the playoffs. That's my only concern.
No, it should be, but there is, and I'm going to point to another line. But again, I'm not going to bet against Logan Stankoven
Oh, no,
and his ability and what he plays.
He's clearly paid off. Clearly paid off.
But the last few games, if you can get what you've been getting out of Jesperi Kotkaniemi with Eric Robinson and Taylor Hall. Just hear me out.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that this is going to be, here is the savior for it, but I'm starting to see, okay, is he taking the step? And, he's not going to be a 30-goal guy. Montreal is going to troll Carolina for eternity for this, and that's fine. Great, good for them. But what the Canes have is they're two, let's just call them the two skilled lines. You've got the heavy player in Andrei Svechnikov, Dog and Seth Jarvis. You don't really have a heavy player right now, and it's fair, and I'm sure that Rod Brindamore will tell you the same thing on that Stankoven line with Ehlers and Blake, but they can tilt the game with their speed and their skill. Then you have your heavy line with Stahl, and if Kotkaniemi can play heavy, he played heavy in Toronto, where he's delivering hits and getting it on the forecheck. If he can do that consistently, well, now you got two heavy lines and two skilled lines, and you can roll the dice with that. Again, but I will put the pressure on, okay, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, show you can do this every game.
Yeah.
Because that's what the organization wants to see you do.
Yeah.
And I think it's there. It's just, can it be there every night? That's a big question. Where are the Canes going to maybe look in other directions as we get closer? And I'll tell you right now, guys, yeah, they will. They will look if there's something out there that they feel they can get, and it won't break the bank because they got the cap space for it, but it'll make them better. They're going to look at making this team improved by either through a trade or whatever circumstance that will come up.
My favorite time of the year, we get Edmonton here on Saturday. It's Joe Giglio AP experience, by the way. We're going to talk.
What do you mean?
But because we have an after dark on Saturday, and I am on the hook for AP, but we will make this thing work.
Okay,
but it's my favorite time of the year.
Sort it out
because we get to play the game of how many times will Rod not mention Connor McDavid, but all the other good players on the Edmonton Oilers. It's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite parlor games, actually.
Well, they do have, for my money, the second best player in the world in Leon Draisaitl.
Mm-hmm.
He's fantastic, and he's what.
Too.
and you will have to mention Jack Roslovic, who, 22 goal scorer for the Hurricanes last year, was a man without a country to start the season. And now he's in Edmonton and he's playing next to Connor McDavid, and he's doing what Jack Roslovic does. He scores goals, and he's been a part of that. And you can talk about Darnell Nurse and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I can run down the list too if you want me to, but Connor McDavid is, I never thought, and we should learn now in sports, never say never, right? There's going to be nobody was ever going to break Gretzky's goal scoring record. And then there's Alexander Ovechkin. Nobody's going to ever do this. Nobody will ever take a run at Jack Nicklaus's major titles, and here comes Tiger Woods, right? We should learn not to say never. For hockey, I never thought we were going to see another player who impacted the game the way that Gretzky or Lemieux did. And he doesn't do it in any of the ways they did it, for how they played. But I'm watching a guy put up 120, 130 points. I mean, I thought those days were done. And, he's able to do this. Connor McDavid, I'm not trying to sell tickets here, folks, but if you're a hockey fan or if you're just a sports fan, see this unicorn. He only comes here once a year. Go see him and see what the best player in the world looks like. And then the better part for me is I always liked, we won't get it, we mentioned Jacob Slavin. I always loved the matchup of getting Slavin out on the ice against McDavid. Let's face it, go back to the Four Nations last year. How did Jacob Slavin really get put on the map? This guy's playing up against Connor McDavid, and he's, effectively shutting him down. So you watch that, but it is fun. I go back to, there's the Dominik Hasek effect, where teams would never mention that they were playing against Dominik Hasek. They just go, well, the goalie for that team is really good. So yeah, I get it, but McDavid is special, and Rod Brindamore knows it more than anybody. So it is funny. I'll be listening if you guys interview him to see how much he does give the bouquets to the other guys on the Edmonton Oilers, which for a few guys, it's really richly deserved.
Mike Maniscalco, play-by-play Carolina Hurricanes. He is brought to you by Brassfield Accounting, now with an RTP office. Check it out, brassfieldaccounting.com, on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline. Mike!
I was a little worried, Joe, because the team had won 4 in a row. And I'm like, what negative thread are you going to be able to pull if it was 5 in a row?
I mean, it's not that I'm trying to pull negative threads. I'm not trying to I mean, heck, you can actually, I'll be backed up by the junior cane hockey parents that I talk to that are like freaking out about XYZ. And it's like, I'm sorry, guys, I cannot muster that much energy for like freak out energy over November hockey right now. Like as Joe said, there's a lot of treading water right now, and you give the Canes a lot of credit for treading water. And it is in a very difficult situation with these injuries.
Yeah. I mean, again, if
if concussion spotter gets Freddie Anderson off the ice last night, I'm thinking, are we freaking serious right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If I tried to, or somebody came up to me and said, you're going to play 16 games, 14 of them without Jacob Slavin, and then you're going to have about 6 each for Shane Gostisbehere, Keandre Miller, and you can keep running down the list. Now, Jalen Chatfield's missing 3 games, and this team's going to be 11-5-0. Oh, and by the way, Pyotr Kochetkov wasn't healthy to start the season, so you got a backup that nobody had ever heard of in Brandon Bussey.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm taking the sheet, man.
Yeah, keep that sheet. We're gonna frame it. We're gonna frame it.
These are the good old days.
We will. We'll chat with you next week, man.
You got it, guys.
It's time to talk Rhoback. For real, for real. Ben Marsigli joining us now on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. It's begun, Ben. The sale is here. I am on the website right now, and I see big, bold, Black Friday, early access, 20% off site-wide. You want this Sheffield jacket? 20% off. You want what Giglio's wearing, which is that ridiculous Brickyard-inspired quarter zip? 20% off. The Delta jacket that Ben is wearing right now, 20% off. You guys are crazy for this one, Ben.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It is the start of our Black Friday sale, 20% off the whole site. You don't even need the promo code, so save the promo code. Or if you've exhausted every variant of an email address you can think of, you're in luck. So now's the time to hit the site, shop for yourself, for your dad, your brother, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever it is. 20% off the whole site.
All right, so people have heard us talk about Ben, our Rhoback guy. They know you're a state guy. The alumni magazine profiled you. Look at you, man.
Look at you.
They won't talk to us, but they're all over you. So we had some people actually request, will you talk to Ben? Can we learn more about his story? So
yeah, they did
yours. Your humble beginnings in Rocky Mount.
Rocky Mount 252. They did a great job making me seem a lot more interesting and important than I actually am. I just draw shirts for a living, which is a fun job. But I'm from Rocky Mount. I went to state, went to design school there, and then got really fortunate and kind of found myself in the apparel industry and found myself at Rhoback a few years ago. And we've gotten to do a bunch of really cool stuff, gotten to work with a lot of schools, cool influencers and podcast guys like yourselves. And it's been fun to be along for the ride and watch it grow.
Nobody believed in Dave Doran. Did you believe in Dave Doran?
Define believe in Dave Doran. Believe in Dave Doran to do what? To go 7 wins, 8 wins? Sure. He's not gonna win the league. He's not gonna win a national championship, but resources and results, right?
There we go.
There we go.
So when did you graduate from state?
I graduated in 2018.
Okay.
He's a baby.
So you had some decent football years.
I had good years. I tell people all the time too, I grew up a Wake Forest fan. So I'm rational. I had level set expectations. If we go to a bowl, your Deeks. I was at the game
off last night. I was very mad about this.
I watched that. I'm still a closeted second favorite Wake fan. Like they're my second favorite team.
Okay.
For my dad. Who went there, but we were at the game this past weekend here in Charlottesville. So that was fun. Just to talk about Dave Doran. Dave Doran was coaching both teams in Charlottesville this past weekend. And Bailey Hockman was playing quarterback for both teams.
Whoa. Garner legend now. Hold on.
I changed Actually, did I not change my I think I changed my Twitter account name to #1 Bailey Hockman Stan account at one point.
That would make sense. Yeah.
We're big Bailey Hockman fans on this program.
Yeah, no disrespect to Bailey Hockman, but that was surely a wild ride. But no, we had some fun years when I was there. We had we had Jacoby Brissett, Ryan Finley, Naheem Hines. We had some dudes. We had some fun games. The Louisville game against Lamar. that Lamar Louisville team was fun. So yeah, I had a pretty good run there. Sweet 16 basketball.
You would have been there for the Got Man.
Yeah, the Got Man, end of the Got Man's era, beginning of Keats. So it was good. It was a good. It was a good 4-year experience into becoming a State fan. There was a little bit of everything.
We recently had someone ask why I am the way that I am, and I'm like, well, first of all, I'm from New Jersey. Second of all, like I was at NC State when they were like 3-9 in football and on a 10-year drought from making the NCAA tournament. So it makes a difference. Like, Scott Fowler, respected colleague of mine, former colleague of mine at the Charlotte Observer, or anyone who went to Carolina, Will Wade's wife. You're going to win a national championship when you're there. You have much different thoughts. My dear friend, Chip Alexander, was at NC State when they won a national championship. Elliot Ament was at NC State when they won. These are the reason people have the views that they have. People are, you're always so negative. I'm like, buddy, if you had to live, you think Bailey Hockman was bad. Jose Lariano. I had to live through Jose Lariano.
Well, this is where you end up doing some retail therapy. So I would suggest you take advantage of the 20% off site-wide and get the Cousin Eddie performance.
I was going to say, I need something totally and completely ridiculous for our Christmas parade.
That's the Cousin Eddie. That is,
if you were looking for something ridiculous, this is the item for you. This thing is awesome. It's so good. I think you've talked about it on the show before, but it is a performance quarter zip, so it is like soft and stretchy, but it has that absurd reindeer pattern on it. We're really proud of that one. It's fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously, so that's part of what's fun about being at Rhoback is we make great product and we're proud of it, but we also like to have some fun with stuff like this.
The crazy thing about this quarter zip, and I'm gonna go to the other one that I'm actually gonna buy.
Well, no, we're working out a deal right now. Let's have a meeting.
Oh, okay. We're having it. Hold on a second. Let's have a meeting.
Ben loves it when I do this.
So here's the thing about the quarter zip.
But listen.
Let me sell the quarter zip.
Anybody know about Rhoback is the official sponsor of the OG Golf Classic.
It is.
Because Ben provides us with prizes for our winners.
Yes.
Well, Rhoback could be the official sponsor of the Christmas parade.
Ooh, title sponsor.
Yeah. They can make me OJ Simpson with the with my gloves and the hat. And maybe not OJ, but
not OJ. Maybe you want to
I might get in trouble if we associate ourselves too closely with OJ.
Okay, but the Rhoback OG Christmas parade coverage.
That sounds good. That sounds good because we'll be decked out.
That's right.
The thing about the Cousin Eddie is that you're right. It's the performance material, but you guys designed it so well that it actually looks like it's wool.
Right.
It looks like it's wool.
It's if you want to get really nerdy about product, it's knit together the same way that your Christmas wool sweater would be. It's just out of stretchy performance material.
It looks fantastic. And then it's like you guys know me. It's like you freaking know me. You got a freaking polo called the Melikaliki Maka.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. What is this?
Get it before it sells out. It's gonna sell out. It always does.
I'm pulling this up right now. If you're watching on YouTube for the podcast audience,
it's a visual show.
Little surfing Santas with palm trees that have Christmas ornaments on them. Like, come on, dude.
He has a wool hat. All right, Ben. We need a Christmas parade package. We got to hurry, though.
Yeah, well, we can. I don't know about the Christmas parade, but you want to break some news on the OG? I know you guys are big fans of that.
Let's break some news on the OG.
We're locked in for 2026. So Rhoback is sticking with the OG for another year.
Let's go.
We thought about going to Meow Mix, but we decided.
I mean, honestly, I'm not telling you how to do your business, but if you really wanted to, you need to outfit Carolina Mike. Can you imagine?
I need his contact. Send me his. We need NFL licensing first.
Yeah, if I had that's a whole other thing. If I had 150,000, I'd spend it all at Rhoback. That's what I would do. I could see it right now. All right, Ben, we appreciate it, man. Awesome news. I love that Rhoback is running it back in 2026. So go to the website right now. Take advantage of the Black Friday early access. If you want something like that Melikaliki Maka, you better go out and get it now. In fact, I'm going to do it once we stop recording here. Also, if you're not into like the designs, but you still want to dress up, if you want it, here's another suggestion. If you want to dress up, but also be comfy, you don't want to design or anything like that, may I suggest the Herringbone Performance hoodie? This thing looks slick. That is something you could easily pull off at a holiday party and nobody would ever blink. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's good, that's good looking.
Wait, you guys are missing the boat here. This is what I actually need for
what do you
Christmas
need?
parade.
What do you need for the Christmas parade as you pull this up?
Yeah. Come on, Ben. I'm not going to be warm enough in Cousin Eddie.
What do you need?
I will. Are you kidding?
The summit.
You are the blizzard.
Are you kidding?
Yes. Sweat your ass off.
Are you kidding?
We gotta check the weather for the Christmas parade. You might sweat your ass off.
I see the 2X.
There you go.
Look at that sale price.
It's good stuff. $92. Woo. Good stuff. All right, Ben, we appreciate it, man. Go to the website, rhoback.com, and I guess we'll be setting up another golf tournament in 2026. Very excited about this, but let's focus on the Christmas parade.
Love it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Joining us now on the Heister Automotive Group microphone in the studio. You know him. You love him. Wolfpack legend and Broughton boys basketball coach, Scott Wood. Year 2 for you as a high school basketball coach. We will talk about a little bit about NC State. I got another question for you about Swish Elite, your program. Yep. But let's start with Broughton, because we went over to Holiday Gym last year. We came over for your reunion game, alumni game. You've got our guy Ralston Turner on your staff. You've got Stotts Battle over there, Chris Brickhouse. You got a whole Wolfpack contingent over there. So what was year 1 like for you? 15 and 11. Do I have this right?
Yep.
Okay.
Year 1 was good. We kind of knew going into it, our main, thing that we wanted to accomplish was building a culture.
Okay.
Having the kids do it the right way, good attitude, good effort. And we accomplished it. I think we did a really good job, made the playoffs for the first time I think it's been a few years there. Ended up losing in the first round in double overtime to Cardinal Gibbons.
I know we had Michael Brooker on this program last week. We had to talk about his run because he played you and then he lost to Garner. My guy Kent Blum's over at Garner.
I've learned really quickly that the Gibbons Broughton thing is it might be more chaotic than UNC and State.
Well, that's old money versus new money. That's an inside the belt line kind of like, hey, you're turning your nose up a little bit.
But
if you're Broughton,
the funniest part is they all hate each other, but almost 97% of them go to church together.
Okay,
so they're all
fair.
They're all buddy. But as soon as they put on the jerseys, there's a real hate there.
And you coached their big last year.
Yeah. Cash played for Swish. We've actually, the funny thing is I've got, I think four kids that go to Gibbons that play with Swish. So,
okay.
But they understand how I operate.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I love you guys when you're with Swish, but as soon as you guys leave, like you're public enemy number 1. So they know how I operate. They know how Ralston operates. So as soon as we cross those lines, we're no more friends.
You've been around basketball your whole life. Your dad played at Western Carolina. I mean, it is your life. Did you learn anything about hoops last year in your first year as a head coach at the high school level? I know you've been coaching the Swish.
I learned a lot about public school.
Okay.
I think, the public school, private school dynamic is completely different. There's a couple more hoops to jump through. Like, even now, like we have practiced 5 days, and now that they've gone to the 8 classification, I've got football players that are still playing.
Okay.
I have my first game on Friday against Green Level, and I will just now have seen some of those players. So I have to have 2 separate tryouts. It is the wonkiest and craziest thing. Like, I think, truthfully, North Carolina High School Athletic Association, without me really getting in the weeds and running them through the mud, they got to make some changes. Like, that's one thing. But just operating and understanding, like there's a whole new dynamic. Like with Swish Elite, I'm calling the shots. Like that's my baby.
Practice on your schedule.
I started it.
Yeah.
Like what I say goes. Like this is a little bit different. You got to kind of
people to answer to.
Run some things up the food chain. So I think if anything, it's that aspect. Like working with cheerleading or There's a rainy day and football has to come in because they can't access outside. Like there's a little bit more dynamic to it that I've probably had to learn and adjust on the fly. But it's been a lot of fun. Like we've got a really good team that's returning. So excited about the future of it.
Now, when I was growing up, I'm 50. You went to your public high school. You stayed there for 4 years. You finished your career there. Tried to get into the Hall of Fame or get your jersey up on the wall. You were always a loyalty guy. In Marion, Indiana, I'm sure your number is up in the gym somewhere. It's got to be, right?
Not yet,
man. We got to work on that. I got to get the PR campaign out for our friends in Marion. Maybe our guy can help me out. Monty.
Monty be the only one, but the problem is he went to technically the rival county school.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Indiana. That's our big connect other than you in Indiana. But you have one of the top rated players in the country in Jordan Page. He played for you as a sophomore. Obviously, the way the world works, there was obviously a possibility that he could have gone somewhere else, played somewhere else, but he's back for his junior year. Just what have you seen from Jordan as a sophomore when you first got him, and now that you're ready to see him for a second season? And just maybe everything that's around him. He's obviously kind of sort of introduced at the state game the other day. Like they put the camera on him and all his other stuff. So it was kind of, there's a lot going on there. It's not quite at the Shavlik Randolph level of Broughton legends when Shav was being recruited by Florida, Duke, State Carolina back in 01, 02. But obviously, it's an experience for you to have a player of that caliber and all the attention that goes with it.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player. Crazy athleticism. He can get to the rim anytime he wants. Has a good motor, defends. All his accolades, whether it's being top 10 in the country, whatever it is, all deserving. I think the one thing for us as a staff that we've noticed a big jump from his sophomore to junior year is the maturity, the ability to lead. I also think it's difficult as a younger player to try to hold a senior accountable or talk to a junior. He has really taken that leadership role on for a different, level. He's done it very well. He's been phenomenal. It's been a pleasure to coach him. He's going to be able to go wherever he wants in the country one day. I also think he's, it's going to be absolutely crazy for me to say this out loud. To me, he's a hidden gem still, because even the OT rankings come out and he's the highest rated North Carolina player in the state, and we didn't even make top 25 list. We were, I think, 9th in the 919 rankings. This kid can hoop. It doesn't matter what's around him. We could take him and put him in the worst school in Wake County, and he's still going to be able to help lead them to victory. But I also think that, his sophomore year, we had a solid team, but it wasn't a really, really good team. This year, we've got a lot of really good players around him. Hudson Fitzgerald's phenomenal. George Hayden, George Coleman. We've got a couple of freshmen, John Bowen, Noah Naylor. We've got some seniors in Rocco Sampson, Sam Emmerich. We've got some football players that are going to start to merge in. So we've got really, really good talent. We're really deep. Got 12 guys that can arguably start for any team in Wake County, in my opinion. So I'm excited about what we got and his ability to help, lead them and get them ultimately where we want to go.
One thing that's important when you're in Jordan's position as a 5-star guy, a top 10 recruit, everyone who comes into your gym wants to make their mark against him.
Mm-hmm.
Does he understand that?
I think
that there can't be off nights, because your off night's going to be somebody's highlight night that they're going to send out to every school in the country.
Yeah, we've told him, and he understands. At the end of the day, we're going to play against a team this year, and if we win by 57 points, and they hold you to 10 points, it's all they're going to talk about the rest of their life. Right. Oh, I was able to hold the 5-star to 10 points. His games are going to be other people's Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I think he understands that. I also think he has big goals. He wants to be a Gatorade Player of the Year. He wants to do X, Y, Z. So he understands, when he steps on that court every night, he's going to have to bring it, because he's going to get everybody's breath. Broughton is truthfully one of those schools that's probably public enemy number one in the eyes of a lot of people.
Sure.
So you're naturally going to get it. Our staff is probably, they're going to look across the way and oh, he got so-and-so on staff. So we're going to naturally get other people's best. So I think even outside him, us as a staff, we know we're going to get everybody's best, and our players know. Even last year, I told them all, it doesn't matter who we play. They want to say, hey, we held Broughton X amount of points. We beat Broughton. We did X, Y, Z. So every night we got to be able to bring it and be ready to play.
So a funny story. I go to the Sanderson Garner High School playoff game last year. My youngest son is now a senior at Garner. Last year he's a junior, goes to all the games. I know a lot of the guys that you've coached on Garner, and obviously Blums is one of my friends too. So go over there. I'm watching the game, and this is the game against. Well, I went. The previous playoff game was against Cardinal Gibbons, who they beat. They got a fortunate call to beat Cardinal Gibbons at the end. I mean, very fortunate call. Sometimes home cooking works that way.
Yep.
The next game they play against Sanderson. They got this like kid with a mullet, a little white kid, skinny, scrawny little white kid. Not little. I mean, he was probably like 6'1"ish, maybe a short 6'2". Steps into the gym. He starts firing. And I'm sitting here. My wife Jessica's with me, and I'm sitting here, and I'm like, and Tanner's dad, Jason Mekalecki's with me, and I'm like, he hits the first 4 or 5 threes that he takes, and they ain't close to the line. Like, I'm sitting here going, the fuck is this kid?
Yep.
And I texted you at the end of the game because he scored 42 points. He leads Sanderson to a win over Garner. And I said, your freshman year performance at Florida State, where you hit 7 threes at Florida State, has been eclipsed as the greatest shooting performance I've ever seen in person by somebody. And I had not a single clue that Nathan Fife from Sanderson was one of your guys, was one of your Swish Elite guys. And I was like, oh, this all makes sense now. This all makes sense now. What a performance by that kid. Like, how have you been able to kind of find some of these guys? And I'm sure you've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of coaching all of them too, and kind of seeing them develop and help them develop.
Yeah. I mean, I think for us, not to say we're, targeting specific kids, but we kind of want those kids to have the chip on their shoulder that's a little bit overlooked.
Yeah. He's at Northern Michigan this year. Which is crazy.
And I will tell you right now, he will be Division II Player of the Year by his sophomore year.
Yeah.
And then he'll be at Oklahoma or some big school making buco bucks. He's an absolute dog. Like we had to play him twice. First off, shout out to Roy. Roy is
Roberson. Yeah.
Hands down, probably the best coach in outside of maybe Freddie at Greensboro Day.
Okay.
Best high school coach there is. I mean, he is top notch.
Okay.
We had to play him twice last year. The first game, our team couldn't figure out how to guard him. Like we laid it out for him the best we could. They could not figure out how to guard him. The next game we play him, held him to 5 points.
Did you pull a
lost by 20?
Lost by 20. I was gonna say, did you pull the guy from Maryland, Gary Williams, old assistant, who fronted Steph Curry with 2 guys?
I mean, we didn't go that far, but we pretty much said we're going to take him out of the game. But I think he still ended up having like 8 assists. He ended up having like 7 or 8 rebounds. Like he just does winning plays. And I think, him being able to shine against Garner and heck, he did it against a lot of other teams.
Yeah.
I mean, he worked his tail off. A lot of our kids, that's pretty much what we tell them. Like at the end of the day, it'll all come, just make winning plays. So I'm excited for not only him, but a lot of our guys at Swish that have now moved on. Like this is our first wave of college kids. So we've got like Isaac Erickson, Will James, Addison
Cash, right?
Cash. Addison Newkirk is at Washington Lee, just played JMU, had 8 and 7. AJ Gladio's at Charleston. So like we've got a ton of kids that this is their first year playing college. So I'm really excited to see how they do, their freshman year.
All right, let's get into a little bit of Wolfpack and the Red Reckoning. Ralston was introduced at Monday's game, but not one Scott Wood, even though Jordan Page was. Was he introduced on the or was it on the broadcast? I can't remember, but what did you think Monday of and you've obviously had conversations with Will independent of Jordan and his recruitment, but what have you been what was your impressions of Monday specifically, and then Will and how he's handled his arrival to the program in general?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much everything we expected. I've told everybody I'm going to give him 10 games, before I really make an opinion with how much new comes into a roster. To me, it's impossible to say, hey, this is what they got. This is how good they are. I got to watch them play some people.
Okay.
North Carolina Central, I think is a solid team. They're not going to be I think Lavelle said it best, like, hey, this is $12 million for $0. Like this is what it is.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited about it. I think they have elite leadership, and watching them in practice. One of the things that I really enjoyed was whether it was Williams, whether it was Copeland, like they just have guys that have no problem saying, hey, you got to be here.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to get there. Like they just have dudes that don't really care about, hey, I got to have 20 tonight. Hey, I got to have 10 tonight. They have so much balance Like my best team, I go back to, my juniors or my senior year. Like we had five guys.
Not your senior year.
5 guys that were in double figures. Like that's hard to scout.
Yeah.
That's hard to guard. So I'm really excited for what they're building. Come on,
easy to scout, hard to guard.
Yeah. So sorry, but that's what it's about is having when me as a coach, like me now, if I got a kid that averages 25 and the next best guy averages 6, like okay, let's try to take this guy away.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden they all got 12, it's like oh crap. Who are we going to take away? It's so well balanced that you just got to make tough decisions, and it's impossible.
How valuable is someone like Kadir Copeland, who speaks Will's language and understands his idiosyncrasies and his style and how he's going to try to manage and motivate that team?
Yeah, his psycho matches his psycho. So I think he said that in the post game. Yeah. But I think you got to have an extension of a coach onto the court, and that's what he is. He knows what Will demands and what that standard is because he's been with them. So I think just having that on the court and helping those guys meet that standard, especially early on. Again, there's going to be some growing pains, new guys, but I think he's going to be able to really control that huddle, control that lineup, and say, "Hey, this is how we're going to do it. This is where we're going to be, and this is where we're going to go."
I think people might forget that the Got Man had some of the same qualities as Will Wade in terms of promoting the program, getting it out there, being on game day. Scotty McCreery was out there. The chancellor was yucking it up with everybody. So when people say, "Oh, I've never seen this before from NC State basketball," I'm kind of like, well, that's not exactly true. I get it that it's a different level and that Mark had some baggage even when he got here from his Alabama tenure and how that ended in Alabama. But I do feel like Monday was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like it felt different and it felt fun.
Yeah, and full transparency, I didn't go to one game last year.
Right, I know.
Full transparency.
I know.
So I went to the first game, and there was a different type of feel. There's a different type of atmosphere that I really haven't felt. Like it felt like there was some excitement and buzz.
Yeah, you got to go back to your game day game against Carolina where you wore the Ghost Reds and they wore the Blues.
Yeah.
Like seriously, that was 2012.
Like I could just feel it sitting there, and I was with my son. Like the fans were eager to see what type of product was going to be on that court, because I think the nice part with Will is, he's very confident. He knows what he wants. He knows what he's doing, and he has no problem speaking it into existence. Now, again, he's got to continue to back it up.
Right.
I think that's the best part about him is he's going to continue to promote the brand. He's going to promote his players, and he's really going to push for, what he thinks NC State basketball should be.
Lavelle didn't give him a lot of options with his zone, but I thought there was a lot of you and I are in a text thread together with a bunch of NC State fans who want to see people coach them up. Coaching going on. Now, Lavelle was running everything under the sun against State and what they were trying to do in the half court set. But obviously the zone kind of limited what Will's choices were. But I thought the way that he used Darian Williams, little high-low action with Ben Lubin, just getting Williams kind of in that point forward-esque type role, I thought was a really, strategery, if you will. I know State fans are so thirsty for this alleged, schematic advantage that they think they haven't had. But
and
again, Bobby Lutz could coach his ass off again. So I just kind of try to remind people sometimes that, that we've seen some of these things before. I promise you.
Yeah.
You're just seeing it all kind of come together in the same package right now.
Well, and Lavelle had to muck it up to stay in it.
Yeah, so we talked to him last week, and I said to him, you ran the fucking flex, you ran the horns from the top, you were running everything in your damn playbook. And he's like, I had to, man.
Especially with the zone, and it's hard because we weren't able to see a whole lot of man. They were pretty much sitting in that zone the whole time. But I would even tell you from an X's and O's perspective, like they were running sets against that zone.
Yeah.
I would also tell you, I would assume that Will knew that there would be some type of zone, but I don't think he expected that type of zone, because I could tell you that I saw a version of a 3-2. Like they brought all 4 guys out and just basically lined them up on the free throw line. Like they ran some crazy zones that you don't see very often.
Yeah.
So again, I would guess that, they have a zone offense. Yeah, they've worked on a couple things, but there's nothing that they can really prepare to see that. So they were able to go in, out of a timeout, on the fly, draw some stuff up. They had a little cross screen action where they were able to get Lubin coming across. Like they had some stuff where they were able to still get some shots. That to me,
some Dean Smith, Roy Williams action there with big screens, the big. Yeah.
To me, again, it's hard to see like really the X's and O's and where they're trying to go with it. But even in that zone, which I think is more impressive, is that they did it on the fly and was still able to get easy looks when they needed a basket.
Scott Wood, Wolfpack legend. I think your 3-point record is safe for a little while, but if they're going to take 40 a game, I mean, Paul McNeil might be coming for you a little bit, or Matt Abel might be coming for you a little bit this season. We'll see what happens. Broughton's basketball season starts when?
Friday at Green Level.
Okay. You guys are in the John Wall this year, of course.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I know everyone's looking forward to that too. You get to host that at your place. Some of the games, obviously, are at your place. And enjoy this season. I hope you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of attention comes when you have a player like that. Obviously, you said people paying attention to you too, but it's a rewarding, challenge for you, especially, I'm sure you'll try to do this until you get to Trey, right? But when you're doing it and trying to and helping other kids, you do kind of find a little bit of a different reward than when it's just your own family. So I know your pops can probably give you some pointers too. So
yeah,
I appreciate you, man, for stopping in, and good luck this season.
No, thank you. It's been a blast.
So we had mentioned with Maniscalco after dark protocols, because you're AP for Saturday night. I mean, what I would suggest is you just take the roadcaster up there with you, and once you hit file, we're good to go for the after darks. Brought to you by Bloom and Blinds.
Okay,
and that makes the most amount of sense.
Okay,
well, we're not going to go on immediately after the Wake Forest UNC game.
Yeah, I kind of sort of forgot about arena noise.
Yeah, you're like, we'll just do it during the game. I'm like, right, because I need to hear, make some noise. Boom, 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 boom. Because I don't need to hear that in the background.
Cheaters.
Right.
Never win.
Exactly. I don't need that. I do not need that. So
that wasn't a bad make some noise, by the way.
I might have done this in a previous life.
Yeah.
Go to bloomandblinds.com. Call them directly at 919-980-9815. And if you do work with them,
let them know.
Let them know. Let them know. 10 or more window treatments, you're going to get 10% off. Thanks to our friends at Bloom and Blinds. Again, check them out online at at bloomandblinds.com, or call them directly at 919-980-9815. Big thanks to the Butcher's Market. We're sitting here talking about blinds, fixing blinds, all that kind of stuff. You got some family coming into town. You don't want them judging you because you got busted blinds in the guest room, because they will judge you.
They will.
Well, this is also how you win them over. Goodies from the Butcher's Market. We got a Butcher's Market OG live tomorrow. I have a prop for you tomorrow.
Okay.
I actually have 2 props for you tomorrow. For OG Live. Are we anywhere?
No, we're
here. Good. I got 2 props for you. One will be consumed tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
The other will be consumed at a date to be determined. I'm excited about this.
Here we go.
Because I found my white whale. I have secured it. I'm very excited about that. We'll save our Butcher's Market OG Live tomorrow. Go to the Butcher's Market, get your catering needs for your holiday festivities. And if you are an office manager and you want to show your employees that you actually give a shit about them, as Gilio clearly has been triggered by, well, then go to the Butcher's Market and make that happen. Speaking of hosting people, clearly this is something that you have some trauma about. So in the meantime, you're hosting people, you got family coming to town, you're bursting at the seams, you're like, we need a new house. All good. Hometown Realty. Check them out online at myhcr.com. You're probably wondering, man, I've been seeing a lot of homes on the market for a long time. I've been driving past this house with a for sale sign for months. What's going on here? Well, get the answers. Contact our friends at Hometown Realty and see what's going on. And let's say you got the house. You got to insure it, right? Well, maybe you're not moving anytime soon. No big deal. How much are you paying for home and auto at this point? Well, have a conversation with our guy, Matt Davis, insuregarner.com, or call him directly at 919-779-8277. And if we're talking about your house, it is your biggest investment. It is the thing that you can utilize, pull the lever if you need to use the equity in your home for any number of things. Debt consolidation, maybe you want to do a home remodel. Maybe you had refinanced when you had no choice to, and you had paid closing costs, and you don't like the rate. Well, contact our friends at Miller Lending. Check them out online at millerlending.com. You can call them directly at 919-447-3377. Again, that's millerlending.com/the OG. Take that thing to close. You'll get a gift basket from our friends at the Butcher's Market. So call them today at 919-447-3377. We're going to end today's show a little differently. Typically, we do Hey Joe here. We take calls from the OG Sports Phone. And when we go to the OG Sports Phone, it's brought to you by our friends at Nature's Releaf. And you can check them out online at naturesreliefhempstore.com. They'll even deliver, Joe. In fact, I'm actually running out of the couch melters. So I do need to make a trip here soon to head on back to Nature's Relief. But in the meantime, instead of taking Hey Joe calls, we need to talk about something that's happening in our nation's capital that could affect one of our corporate champions and an entire industry. So to help us talk about that is Ian Brown from Nature's Relief, joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Ian, what's going on, man?
How's it going, you guys?
Have you had your hippie sip, Gilio's favorite this morning?
Not before the podcast. It's my treat after.
I was going to say, given the news, you might need a few of these. All right, so lost in all of this government shutdown and what's going on with air traffic controllers and are my flights getting canceled or the ACA, health insurance, all that kind of stuff. Lost in all of this is a provision in the bill that has been passed by the Senate. It's going to the House and then it has to go back to the Senate before it reaches the president's desk. Is a ban on hemp products that create the inebriated effect. And all of this goes back to a loophole in the hemp farm bill that has created an entire industry, including one here in North Carolina that Nature's Relief has been a part of with all the various stores. So I think that's like the 5,000-foot view. But how did we get here, and what is happening, and what does this mean?
Yeah. So Sunday, when the Senate passed the bill with the language in it that was introduced a few weeks back by Mitch McConnell, it's basically what's known as hemp killing verbiage. 95% of the industry would be wiped out. About 300,000 people would lose their jobs. It's a $28 billion, that's a rough estimate, $28 billion industry. That has not just been a great benefit to North Carolina, but to the nation in itself. Senator Rand Paul tried to make a last-ditch effort to save it. His amendment to strike that language was tabled. So it's back in the House today. They reconvene. They have a lot of stuff to do, and sneaking some language like this into a bill that's, people are losing their benefits, people are not getting paid. And then, it's all this fear mongering they're doing to get the government reopened. And then somehow they snuck this in. And, Nature's Relief, we have 35 employees. I work with some really great people. I own my own company with Hippie Sips.
Mm-hmm.
I deal with a lot of hemp companies throughout the area. There's a lot of really good people. We're a little nervous. This is probably the most nervous we've been.
Okay. So is there anything, so let's say this goes through, I guess there's a couple of steps here. So let's say this completely goes through because they want to rush this as fast as they possibly can to get things back up and running after such a long shutdown. What happens after that? What happens to you? What happens to the availability of me going to your stores to get anything?
So if passed as is, it does create a 1-year window. So I believe the end of 2026 would be the last day you'd be able to purchase any sort of hemp product in the country, or at least in North Carolina too.
Okay. If it goes through and we're going through this process, can it be revisited throughout the 365 days?
Sure. It could. Yeah.
Do you expect that to happen?
I expect them to take the year to hopefully do some regulatory research, put in some sort of framework, and then in 2027 kind of have to start the groundwork for, not having this stuff in gas stations, not having, accessibility to children, tamper-proof packaging and things like that. Things that we take great pride in at Nature's Relief. And it's just so disheartening when you see the articles about hemp and, they're showing the gas station stuff and clearly, trademark infringing products that are just garbage, and they're parading this stuff around. But, you guys have been to our store and see, the cleanliness, the transparency.
Mm-hmm.
We're a little nervous. It's been an interesting week, and I hope it doesn't go through. I hope the House does change it. I think they're going to rush it.
So this feels like pork belly politics at its finest, right? This is Mitch McConnell sticking up for the liquor industry. in his home state of Kentucky? Because Rand Paul obviously is sitting here going, no, I have this giant hemp industry in Kentucky as well. Ian, we've been to the governor's mansion. We've had a conversation about the importance of this, not only this, but legalizing marijuana in the state of North Carolina, what it would mean to our agricultural industry.
Yep.
And as much as we think, oh man, it's 2025, we're high tech this, we're high tech that, we're Lenovo this, we're Lenovo that. Bullshit, man. We're an agricultural state. That's what we are.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit of I'll say it for you. This is some sneaky ass backroom bullshit by Mitch.
Thank you for putting it that way. I appreciate that. That is correct.
Frankly, who I thought was already gone because he lost control of his party to Donald Trump. I thought he was completely irrelevant at this point in his life. I know we've seen him on different points of in and out ofness, for lack of a better term. So for them to sneak this in there this way, it just seems like. But maybe if I take some of my rhetoric out of this and you said there's this 1 year window, is this somehow an attempt to regulate your industry more? Is that what could that ultimately be the play here, that they're trying to regulate?
It could be the outcome. I don't think it's the play. It's I think it's more lobbyists, big money. You've got big alcohol, big cannabis, like I was saying earlier, Coke and Nestle even sent a letter to Congress about, not having these products because people are, infringing on their trademark, which again, you shouldn't do, obviously, but back off. We're not hurting anybody.
Yeah. To your point, before I bring Jennifer on, I've driven past some stores where the entire marquee is just rip off of a lot of IPs, and I can see where people have a problem.
Okay, so I don't know when.
Jennifer Wilson now joining us here too. We're going to add her into the quad box here. Quad box it up, because this is a big deal. It's like all hands on deck. Because Joe asked me, he's like, "What is happening?" Because we even got a text from our guy Riley over at Groove Wagon, who's like, "This is bad, right? This is bad for a lot of this industry." So Jennifer, what is your, if there's just some overall message for people about what's going on and what they can do?
So the biggest thing right now is this is a big plague. So there's a lot of communication happening. It is very bad for the hemp industry as of right now. I believe it's taking away people's choices for their, just to make their choice. Right now, we're just all hands on deck. Apologize. I was on a phone call right before I jumped onto the podcast, and the biggest focus is we need to hear people's voices. We need videotapes and comments about how hemp has helped them. Like, if they can go on to Instagram and start sending in this information into their to the representatives, it could make a difference. North Carolina still hasn't even chosen what they're going to do in this hemp industry, but they're literally going to wipe out. We're not talking about a small company. We're talking about $30 billion worth of sales in the hemp industry. We're talking about hundreds of thousands and millions of jobs, not just in the stores that are selling the product, but also the packaging companies that are making it, the advertising people. We're talking about tons of small businesses. Literally, almost the entire gambit of the hemp industry is run by small businesses, run by the people that live in your community. And that is what they don't like, I think. So at Nature's Relief, we're just going to push forward, and we're going to still focus on the fact that this was an essential product, literally essential in 2020. It was the very first question asked, actually on WRAL, that said, how are hemp stores, are they essential? And their response was, they're essential for medication and people to get their medicine. And now they're trying to act like it's some kind of drug. So call your Congress people and let them know you're not happy.
To catch people up, because Ian was explaining some of this to us, and I'm glad he mentioned up when we go into the store itself and you get these different information, because I'm a total novice in this stuff. You know this, Jennifer. The difference between hemp and what we would traditionally call marijuana is, and how are you able to sell the products you are in the state of North Carolina as opposed to a state where marijuana is legalized?
So we are still running under that 2018 Farm Bill Act that they're discussing right now, the redefinition. North Carolina really hasn't. It's a federal act. It's federally, yeah. North Carolina itself doesn't really have any verbiage other than you're allowed to sell product that's under 0.3% THC by weight, and we are in compliance with that. The saddest thing is that hemp actually has a lot of medical purposes to it. It's not just THC. So
Right.
we're talking about CBG for pain. We're talking about CBD for relief. We're talking about CBN for sleep. These are non-intoxicating products that, they're going to basically eliminate everything. So it's really strange that in the last year it's been a big push to get it regulated. Let's get some tax dollars. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, they could tax this product and come up with so much income. People would be more than happy to go and pay the tax to get their product. They're sick of being told what they can and can't do. We're sick of being told that. So I think that's the biggest thing.
So I see you're getting, this industry is getting squeezed from a couple of different angles.
Yeah. It's everywhere.
It's not being run by one gigantic corporation.
Oh, absolutely not.
Which is what the gigantic corporation wants.
Mm-hmm.
You're competing or cutting into or whatever you're doing to the alcohol industry, which is, again, in Kentucky with Mitch McConnell. Okay. I get that part of it.
And to be clear, there's about a story that comes out about every month about how young people are not drinking. Right. And this is bothering the industry because there's alternative. I've always said that the reason why people aren't drinking anymore is because of the availability of other things.
So then you also have the squeeze from the marijuana side.
Well, they're actually on our side now. So, there's a little bit of squeeze from them, but there's a lot of companies that have converted to dual partnerships. They're selling cannabis and hemp, and they are also fighting. So it's coming from every angle. It's coming from pharmaceuticals. I think they would probably be the biggest push. Alcohol companies, yeah.
Now you have the oxy companies. No, your pain and your issues. You need to take oxy. You need to take, or your stomach issues. No. Yeah, your stomach issues. No. All these other things that we already have on the shelf. That's what you need to take. You don't need to stimulate your appetite with something like this. You don't need any. So I get you're getting squeezed from a lot of different things. The last part you're getting squeezed by is the government. Because when I went to Arizona to the Final Four, and I think I told you this when I went to your store. When I went to the Final Four, I went to a dispensary. I walked in and it's like going to Apple. Yeah. You know what I mean? You had to show the ID. Yeah. I had to walk in. I had to stand in this area. It's very controlled. This whole thing. It's like, this is how the government wants to sell you drugs, for the lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So I feel for you. I know the people who listen and support our show support your stores and your product. And I hope they continue to do that. And I hope they take your advice as well and let their voice be known that, look, man, just because you're not, the machine is pissed off that this was created by not the machine.
Yes.
Is essentially what this is coming down to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that should piss off everybody, whether they use the product or not. They're mad that they don't get their cut.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make any sense because this is helping people. It is helping them. I mean, it's literally helping people save money on medical trips. Everything that's happening is helping. So that's exactly why they're pushing it away. They're not getting their part. So Nature's Relief has always been about community. And the only thing we can do is focus on the people that are close to us. So we're begging for people to go out and really tell everybody, why do you use hemp? Why are you using this product? And 99% of them are going to come back and say, it's helping me. It's giving me a better life.
Yep.
It's, and that is just incredible. And for them to say, well, you can stop smoking this thing that has barely no side effects. And trust me, there are no deaths associated with hemp right now. And they're saying all these overdoses are happening.
It's all fear mongering.
Put your stuff away. Yeah. Come on. This is alcohol is killing people every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ruining their lives and it's ruining their relationships. And they want to keep selling it. Why? That's what you got to ask yourself. Why do they want to do that?
Well, they regulate it and they get a cut of it. And
it's big business too.
They're regulating us.
Well, Jennifer, Ian, we appreciate the time as always. I know it's a stressful week and a stressful couple of hours here with everything's going on, but I wanted to reach out to you all because obviously we care about you. You guys care about us, and I care about this industry in particular because, to your point, it's helped me in a lot of ways. So I want to make everybody understand what is going on here and what they can do. So we'll touch base again when we kind of get clarity on what's going on here. But in the meantime, let your representatives know this is crap, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys.
We're not staying still.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Later. Appreciate you made the time, Jennifer. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. You too.